Hello, welcome to our channel where we bring you the best moral stories for kids. Today I'm going to share with you a very interesting story about a selfless girl. Once upon a time in a kingdom, there lived a beautiful and kind princess. She was known throughout the kingdom for her selflessness. One day while walking through the market, the princess saw a poor old woman who was blind and couldn't find her way. Without hesitation, the princess went up to her and offered to help her. "Don't worry, I will help you," said the princess. And she did. The princess guided the old woman back home. On another occasion, the princess was at a friend's birthday party. The king and queen of another kingdom were also present at the party with their only son, Prince Rowan. Unlike the prince was selfish and arrogant. He always thought about himself and never bothered to look after others. When the cake arrived, Prince Ronan ordered two big slices of cake for himself, while other kids got only small slices. The princess saw this and felt bad for the other children, so she asked the servants to cut the rest of the cake into smaller pieces so that every child could enjoy it. The kids were happy, but the prince wasn't. "Why have you cut my cake into pieces? I had planned to eat it all myself," he complained. The princess explained to him why it was important to share, but the prince didn't listen. "Sharing is caring," said the princess. The prince scoffed at her. "I don't care. You can keep your fake kindness to yourself," he said. The princess was hurt by his words, but she knew that one day he would learn the importance of sharing and caring for others. Many years passed. The princess grew up to become a beautiful and graceful queen. The king and queen of her kingdom had announced a grand ball in honor of her. Many kings and princes from nearby kingdoms had come to attend the ball, including King Ranveer and his son, Prince Ranveer. Yes, Prince Rowan had become Prince Ranveer. Now, the queen was worried that her son would repeat his father's mistakes and cause trouble at the ball. She pulled him aside and said, "My son, I want you to remember one rule. You must not be selfish or unkind to anyone at the ball. Do you understand?" The prince nodded obediently and went out to meet the guests. The queen was right. Prince Rain was indeed causing trouble at the ball. He was rude to the servants and boasted about his bravery and strength to the other young princes. Soon, all the young princes gathered around the king and the queen, waiting for their turn to talk to them. The queen noticed Prince Ranveer and gestured to him to come forward. As soon as the prince stepped forward, the queen asked, "My son, I heard that you are the strongest and the bravest of us all. Is it true?" Prince Ranveer puffed up his chest and said, "Yes, mother, I am the strongest. No one is stronger than me." The queen smiled and replied, "That's very good, my son. Then I want you to do a little task for me." "What task, mother?" "You have to make this old woman smile," said the queen, pointing towards an old lady sitting in a corner of the hall. All the princes were shocked. They tried everything to make the old lady laugh, but she didn't even budge. Fed up with their antics, she shouted, "Get away, you silly princes! Why don't you leave me alone?" Hearing this, Prince Ranveer felt angry. "You will smile no matter what," he said, and pushed the old woman. All the princes burst into laughter, except the queen and King Robin Hood. The queen and the king were deeply disappointed in Prince Ranveer's behavior. The queen turned to Prince Ranveer and said, "My son, you may be the strongest of us all, but that doesn't give you the right to be selfish and unkind to others. Strength isn't just about physical power. It's also about being kind and helpful to those in need." Prince Ranveer hung his head in shame. He realized that his father had been right all those years ago when he boasted about his strength. His father had tried to teach him that true strength comes from being kind and helpful, not from being selfish and boastful. Just then, the old woman stood up and said, "I am very sorry, Your Highness. I didn't mean to snap at you. The truth is I haven't laughed properly in many years. No one has made me laugh like you just now." She looked at all the princes and said, "Each one of you tried your best to make me laugh. But you, young prince, you pushed me and that's what made me laugh. If you have the ability to make people laugh, then that is a real gift. The Queen and King Robin Hood were pleased to hear this. They knew that their son had learned an important lesson about kindness and humility. From that day on, Prince Ranveer became a changed person. He started to treat others with respect and always tried to help those in need. He never forgot the lesson he had learned from the old woman and the Queen. Once upon a time in a village, there lived a young girl who loved writing stories. She spent hours and hours creating imaginary worlds filled with all kinds of interesting characters. But here's the thing, she never showed her stories to anyone. You see, she was afraid that others would laugh at her stories and tell her that they were silly and stupid. So she kept on writing and rewriting her stories again and again, but never showed them to anybody. One day, the girl was walking through the park when she saw a group of children gathered around someone. They were all laughing and having a great time. She went closer to see what was happening, and she saw a man dressed as a clown making balloon animals for the children. The children were so happy, and they kept asking the clown for more and more animals. The girl sat down on a nearby bench and watched them for a while. She thought to herself, I wish I could make people happy like the clown does. Then suddenly, she had an idea. She ran home as fast as she could and grabbed her books of stories. She went back to the park and sat down in front of the children. Hey, kids, do you want to hear some interesting stories? She asked. The children stopped playing and looked at her. Some of them were interested, but most of them wanted to go back to playing with the clown. The girl knew that she only had one chance to make them interested, so she began to tell them the most exciting story she had ever written. At first, the children were a little restless, but as the story progressed, they became more and more involved. They listened attentively and asked questions about the characters and the plot. The girl was so happy that they were enjoying her story. She continued to tell them more and more stories until it was time for her to go home. The children were so sad that she had to leave, but they promised to come back the next day to hear more of her stories. From that day on, the girl became a regular at the park. Every day she would go there with her books of stories and spend hours and hours entertaining the children. The children loved her stories and never got tired of hearing them. The girl was so happy that she could make them happy. She no longer felt the need to hide her stories or be ashamed of them. She had found her purpose in life, and it made her the happiest girl in the world. And that's all for today. I hope you enjoyed the story. If you did, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Thank you for watching. Goodbye.